Welcome to the lesson on filling out forms. In this lesson, we will learn how to fill out forms on your tablet. We will look at different input methods that you may use, including handwriting and keyboard. When you log into Natural Forms, the first screen that you'll see is the Form Instance screen. This is where you'll see forms that are in the process of being filled out or submitted to the server for further processing. You can see that my screen is blank, meaning that I haven't filled out any forms. As we create new forms, this will become a list of my active forms. Let's say I want to fill out a new capability tour form. In the top right corner of the screen, there is an icon that looks like a form with a pencil inside it. This is the Compose button. Tap the Compose button and we see a pop-up showing the templates that I have access to fill in. The form templates are listed in alphabetical order and the list can scroll. To start filling out a form, simply tap on the form name. When I tap the Capability Tour template, the system suggests a name for this copy of the form. This name, or the name you create, will appear on the Form Instances screen. We refer to a copy of the form as a form instance. I suggest you assign a meaningful name containing information like work order number, customer last name, customer account number. This will make it easier to find the form later. Once named, I will tap the Create button. Here's my form. We are now ready to begin filling out the form. Information is added to the form in 4 ways. 1. Directly writing on the form, for example, checkboxes. 2. Using the input panel that appears at the bottom of the form. 3. Attachments of photos, GPS, and voice. And 4. Annotation to graphic images, photos, or freehand drawings. We will review the input methods that you may see on your forms. The first input method is a checkbox. As you can see on this form, there are selections for the areas inspected. Checkboxes are usually drawn as squares. You can select as many of the checkboxes that apply. By tapping on a checkbox, the system will put an X in the box, indicating it is selected. If you select a checkbox and change your mind, tapping the checkbox a second time will remove the X. Another input method is radio buttons. Radio buttons are typically drawn as circles. Notice on the form we have radio buttons for the type of structure field. Radio buttons allow only one item to be selected at a time. I will tap on the freestanding radio button to select it. The system will put an X on the form to show what has been selected. If I want to change the value, I simply tap on another value like duplex. The system removes the X from freestanding and puts the X next to duplex to show it is selected. It's just that simple. Whenever you select a field in Natural Forms that is not a checkbox or radio button, the input panel will automatically display. When I tap the first name field, you can see the input panel appear. Let's review the different parts of the input panel. The yellow part of the input panel is the writing area. This is where you will input your information. Just above the writing area, you will see a preview pane that shows what has been written. Because some fields require more space to write, the writing area will scroll to the left and right. There are scroll buttons to move the writing panel. This is especially helpful for longer fields like street address and comments. The input panel is dynamic and changes based on the field selected. The input panel is displayed for cursive and printed writing. You can see the available input methods for the selected field in the top right of the input panel. In this example, cursive is selected. The available input methods are part of the form settings and are predefined. If I tap keyboard, you will see that the input panel changes. As you fill out the form, the system will remember which input methods you prefer on each field, so these are automatically displayed the next time you fill out another instance of this form. This is just another way that Natural Forms helps make sure data collection is natural and efficient. There is a clear button that is used to erase all input in the input panel so you can start over. If I tap clear, you see that the first name we typed disappears. Partial erasure by using cross-out gestures is also possible. Enabling the erase gesture in Natural Forms is covered in the lesson on configuring Natural Forms. These next 2 buttons will take you to the previous field or next field on the form. On the right is the next field. If I tap it, the system will take me to the next field, which in this case is the last name field. Once in the last name field, tapping the left arrow takes me back to the first name field. The first input method is cursive. Write as you normally would, whether cursive or printing. I'm writing Mark for the first name. As I write, you can see the preview bar updating. If we look at the first name field, you can also see that the system turned the handwriting into data. I will navigate to the last name field and print Smith. You can see that the system interprets cursive and printing using this panel. Another input method is keyboard. By selecting keyboard, you will see the iPad keyboard displayed. Notice the Shift key on the keyboard is highlighted in blue. This automatically capitalizes the first letter typed. I can still switch back to the cursive view and make changes. Another input method is the option list. When I select State, you will see an option list appear on the panel. An option list has a limited number of possible values that you must select from. Notice that all my choices are sorted alphabetically. I can swipe the list and scroll down and up. I can also use the alphabet on the far right to scroll through the list, or just tap on a letter. In either case, I will just select the value that I want to select, like OH for Ohio. Next is the time picker. You can see the time picker when I tap on the dispatch time field. If you want the current time, tap Select. Otherwise, turn the scroll wheels to select the correct time. There are two input methods for the date. The first is the date picker. This works just like the time picker, but shows month, day, and year. The second method for entering a date is the enhanced date picker. Here's where you enter the day, the month, and the year. The current day, month, and year are highlighted in blue. You can select those very quickly. You can also use the buttons under day, month, and year to type the correct values. This can be an easier and faster way to enter this particular date. You can choose the input method that you prefer. The next input method is the numeric keypad for number fields like zip code, social security number, and phone. When I select the zip code field, the number pad appears. I can simply tap the correct numbers. When using the input panel, there are some gestures you will want to use. The first gesture is to delete something. Let me show you how this works. Once you've written in the input panel, you just have to draw a horizontal line through the middle of the characters that you want erased. This works whether the field is being handwritten, has already been interpreted, or was typed in. There is a gesture to add a space in the text. To do this, swipe down. Another gesture removes a space from the text. Swipe up to remove a space. These gestures are another way the system enables natural input. Now that we have filled out some of the form, we would tap the Forms button in the top left of the screen. This will automatically save our work and return us to the Form Instances screen. Let's review what we've seen in this lesson. We have created a new form instance. We have selected checkboxes and radio buttons. We reviewed the controls on the input panel. We input information using various input panel methods: cursive, handprint, keyboard, numeric keypad, option list, time picker, date picker, and enhanced date picker. And the last thing we looked at was saving the form. This completes the lesson on filling out forms with natural forms. In the next lesson, we will share with you how to review forms for compliance, submit, delete, email, and print forms.